Welcome to Created Healthy. I'm Dawn Combs. It's a common idea that God gave us everything we need in nature, but do we believe it enough to walk that out in truth? Often the very same people who say this go looking for answers on how to use food and medicine from man-made sources. Everything man creates comes with a user's manual. Why would God be any different? I challenge you to join me in seeking revelation about our body, mind, soul, and spirit health by digging into His written word and in practicing pure science in the visible world of His creation. Because every house has to have a foundation, it was laid strongly on my heart to start this podcast with a daily series. I am using the book, The Bible in 52 Weeks, which you can buy for men or for women. I invite you to read along with me. I'm finishing up Genesis today, and I am in chapters 47 and through 50. So in Genesis 46, we're setting up that Joseph has been talking about his family to Pharaoh before they've gotten here, and he has been laying the groundwork that they are keepers of livestock or shepherds. And this is not just about talking about his family or talking about his background and it's quaint and this is what they do. This is specifically so that he can keep his family outside of the city. This is his goal, to get them settled into Goshen. And Goshen is right at the mouth of the Nile Delta. It is intensely green and grassy. It's lush. It has a water supply, going to be really fertile ground. And the Pharaoh says to settle them in the best of the land. But at the time, the Egyptians are highly urbanized. They're either living in cities or they're doing really intensive agriculture. They do have herds of animals. They are eating meat, but they specifically do not kill the firstborn. The firstborn is revered and worshipped. And so shepherds that are coming from Canaan, these Hebrew shepherds that Joseph is settling, by putting them in Goshen, it's going to separate them from the city, which is going to separate them from the Egyptian culture. It's also creating a cultural barrier because we're putting out that we are shepherds. And we're also going to have a spiritual boundary because the Egyptians, it says the Egyptians find shepherds detestable. And this is because it's kind of like a profession that is dirty and looked down on. Their keepers of animals would not be high in society, but worse, the Hebrew shepherds in their religion to the one God are sacrificing the firstborn of their herds. And so this is at best to the Egyptian, this looks very disrespectful. It looks dangerous because if you are worshiping the firstborn and you revere them and you think there's a connection to gods, and here you have this culture that's actually killing the gods, surely they're going to get some sort of smiting here because of what they're doing. They're low class. They're backwards. They're not educated like us. They're not smart. They're not religious like us. And so it separates them from that standpoint as well. Nobody wants anything to do with them. At worst, and this kind of jumped into my mind. I'm thinking, here you have a whole populace of people that are pretty much proving that your gods aren't very powerful. If they are literally killing and eating them, how powerful is your God? These Hebrew people are eating them. So at best, it's looked down upon as uncultured, and at worst, it's a constant testament that the sheep are not gods. It's a constant testament that maybe the Hebrew God is something that should be taken a little more, another look at. There must be something there. As we go along, obviously, the tribe of Israel flourishes, and this is going to get worse and worse. But at first, it's a cultural and an actually physical separation. So we're still in the famine. This is going on and on. It doesn't stop. And Joseph has been set up as the head of Egypt. He's been given this great power to save everybody with his ideas of storing the grain. And as it goes along, all of Egypt is coming to get seeds and grain, and they've run out of money. So first they give all of their wealth into Pharaoh through Joseph. Then when they're out of money, they start to give their flocks. When they run out of flocks, they give their land. So Pharaoh is getting all the wealth, all of the animals, all of the land. And finally, they offer themselves into slavery to survive. And I think this is something I definitely want to discuss further, but slavery isn't what we have come to look at it in the Western world here. It really is I'm going to be taken care of now. It is a giving up of freedom and autonomy, but now you are underneath the care of Pharaoh by selling your body to Pharaoh. So the interesting thing here is that Israel is being taken care of by Joseph. So he's being given a salary per se, and it looks like he is using that to pay for his family to continue to be getting food and grain. And so they have freedom and land, and they're flourishing and getting bigger and bigger. They are not owned by Pharaoh at this point. And only the priests have their own land, Israel, and then Pharaoh has everything else, even the people. So Joseph puts in the first flat tax. He instills, so once the people are all slaves in this system, he says, fine, we own you, and so now you're gonna sow seeds every year, and you owe Pharaoh a tribute of 20% of your harvest, and then you keep everything else. So they're really essentially sharecroppers instead of what we understand as slaves. Jacob, as we go through the chapters here, makes Joseph swear to bury him out of Egypt. And there seems to be this, we find out that Jacob and Joseph are both very well revered in the Egyptian culture. And this is really important because things are really nice right now. The relationship between Israel and Egypt is good. And we see that everything is good because Jacob and Joseph are highly revered across the culture. Jacob brings Joseph's sons into him and gives him a double portion of his wealth, but he does not get his birthright. He adopts Joseph's first and second born son, and then he blesses them. But he doesn't bless the first in the way that it would be. He crosses his hands and he puts the second above the first. Another indication here that we see this again and again, where the second born is usurping the firstborn. Out of the cultural acceptance is that the firstborn is more important, but God does not put that sort of importance on people. Jacob then brings all of his other sons in, and we see the fallout from everything that has happened in their lives. Reuben is firstborn, but he loses his first place in gathering the birthright because he slept with Bilhah. So he came up onto his father's couch and dishonored him. And so he loses that birthright. Simeon and Levi, who went after Dinah's rapist, their lot then is that they are to be mixed in with the rest of Israel. So the rest of the sons will receive an allotment, and Simeon and Levi will be mixed in among all of that. They will never have their own established home. Judah is the fourth born, but actually receives this birthright, this inheritance down from Abraham. and Jacob dies. He's actually embalmed in Egypt, and the Egyptians mourn him for 70 days. The embalming takes 40 days. He's buried in Canaan with Abraham, so he is buried in that field that Abraham purchased to bury Sarah, and he's with his forefathers. They go in this huge, massive crowd to bury Jacob, both Egyptians and his sons and daughters and everybody, their descendants and animals. They go in this huge caravan. And when they come back, the brothers of Joseph are now back to the place of, oh no, Dad's not here to protect us. Joseph's probably going to be really mad at us for selling him here. And instead, Joseph assures them that, look around. What you meant for evil, God turned to good. And obviously, there was a bigger plan at work. You were used for me to get to the position to be able to preserve our line, to preserve the birthright of Abraham, and for our people to be able to move all over the earth and number the stars. And Joseph dies. So, looking at all of this, there's some really cool things to pull out. I think, again, this idea that we are to be separate. I think throughout Christianity, we are meant to be a people that is amongst the rest of the world, but not in their culture, partaking of everything that's available. And it's so easy. We have absorbed, at this point, thousands and thousands of years later, we have absorbed into a Western culture, and we aren't all that separate. I think it is important, especially for our health, that we are setting ourselves apart from the modern day conveniences, from the things that everybody else are doing. It isn't just enough for us to say we are followers of Christ, we go to church. We need to be doing the tough things that set us apart, that make us follow all of God's commandments, all of his statutes. And I think this very intentional setting apart here is a really good sign that is correct. So we're going to get into Exodus starting tomorrow. I hope that God is blessing you today, and that he brings you back to study with me tomorrow. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share with a friend. And I'm always interested in hearing what God is laying on your heart. So drop me a rating or review, or join the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube at Dawn Combs Really.